Yeah, what about the audience? Some other questions, comments, viewpoints? So what is your call in terms of planning versus execution? Are you sufficiently confused or adequately confused? So are you looking at... Now, Mr. Azmi, when you're handling a scenario, say handling a training, mega project or and so on, say that you have done all your planning execution perfect, but later you get a feedback, your execution was poor. You thought that training was done well, that entire project went on very well and so on, but subsequently you get a feedback about, because I think that is beyond your control, but still how do you strike a balance in such scenarios?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. It is impossible for me to answer this question in a very short period of time. Anyway, I'll try to answer this question. When it comes to training and development, most of the time, the authorities or the people who are looking after the corporates like to complain about the training that has taken place. They like to think if we recruit bad people, training can make them good. That is the problem we have in the corporates now. If you recruit a good person or the good candidate, training can make him or her better or best. Training is not supposed to convert a bad person into a good person. That is wrong. Training does not have that type of capability, as Darshan said. Okay. So, normally, this particular blame game is in the insurance industry is very normal. So, I'm used to it. Darshan also knows because I was working on Darshan and I was at the Sri Lanka Insurance Corporation. And we were working together at the Indian Insurance as well. Now I'm into the couple. I have seen 3 companies. The mentality is same. Nothing has been changed. So, through the figures of the performance, we used to prove that we have done justice to what we have taken over.
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic area to explore. It recalls my memory in one of these books, The Good to Great, written by Jim Collins. Now he argues that under people factor, is it this dichotomy of people first or the task second? So it's called who what, or what versus who. Actually, in fact, he highlighted through the research says that who then what, because some do believe that no, it's what then who. So this is an interesting area to explore. Another interesting question has come to Darshan for you. This is, I think, so much of insightful. Who should have change management skills? Of course, planners or the executors. So as far as change management skills are concerned, who should be in the predominant role?
See, I mean, very simple answer is that change management skills should run through all your line managers. Because the CEO or the top management cannot lead change management. They will lead, but execution of the change management has to happen through the line. So anybody who knows a little bit about management knows that there are 3 levels of management. The top level is more policy. They will only give directions in terms of policy changes. If you look at the middle layer, they are more the department. And the lower level, the first line level, will have to execute the change. So, in my opinion, change management skills cannot be only at the conceptual level. Then only concepts will change. But if you need a behavioral change, change management skills should be there with each line manager. But it's tough. It's tough to develop those skills, but it's a requirement. Because otherwise you'll have a nice top policy level strategy change, but not behavioral changes. So for me, change management execution is more important because you can talk a lot about change management, but who is going to initiate? The biggest problem is big consultants will come and tell you, talk a lot about what to do in terms of change, but if your line managers don't believe it and do it, no change will take place. It will only be in the books. Yeah.
Thank you. I think that's very, very important. Yes, we have 5 more minutes before we go to the final remarks of the all 4 panelists. Any more comments or questions? At least we'll take 1 more question from the audience. Any comment even? Well, it seems that you are done with the topic. I think the credit should go to Darshana. He seems to be has covered comprehensively so that people are comprehensively absorbed. That's my assumption. Having said that, we have come to the last 5 minutes. Now let me begin with this side, where the panelists, what is your now? So if we look back this topic, planning versus executing. Yeah, we have learned, we have discussed so much, but at the end of the day, what is your call? So I would expect you to go 1 or 2 minutes brief remarks.
Actually, when it comes to planning and execution, I think in the initial stages, at the time of beginning, I placed my opinion with regard to execution, but I didn't tell you anything about planning. When it comes to planning becomes 2 types. There can be plans which are internal, which are not touched by external forces. You got to think about these things. There are plans which are internal and there are no market impacts on those plans. Okay. There can be plans which are touched by market forces. Okay. Which plan is more difficult to devise? And which plan is more difficult to execute? Think about it. These are the inputs that I feel. I think this is not a fabricated assumption. This is what I got from the presentation that has taken place here. Darshana did a good job. And this is what the summary I got from the presentation. There can be 2 types of plans and 2 types of execution. Here, are we talking about only the second type of the plans and only the second type of the execution? Or are we talking about the first type of the plans and first type of the execution? This input will make you think about these areas, I think. Someone?
Actually, today, Mr. Darshana has expressed his views and whatever, which will be very valuable to you all for your day-to-day work as senior managers. So in my case, finally, what I wanted to tell you here, I think there's a gathering in different trades or different areas. You be the senior managers. Whatever the planning given to you by your top management is differ everybody. But as a common, I can say when you do a planning, as I told you, do a participative one and go to strategically whether it is okay and do the best and sort also include and when it comes to this execution, not to have much of barriers or whatever when you are doing the planning, get your macro level, all these things, and then you do your come to the execution level, you will be overcome if you have given the right person to do the right thing at the right time to achieve your target and get the outcome of your plan. So therefore, in such case, there will be so many barriers. So, but you have to think those things also in your planning. Now, just as an example, I will tell you, it is in the hospitality trade, but you try to applicable into your section or area or trade. just say, if one day Sri Lankan Airlines go on strike at Katunayaka, what will happen to the flight passengers for their refreshments? Then Taj Airport Garden will be getting the opportunity to make 25,000 sandwiches for that time. They don't have much workers, they are doing the split duty, and the areas is they are marked for do the F&B and the kitchen in limited area, but they are supposed to do. They have to achieve that target with the limited resources with their staff, but they are achieving that. Think it and do your work also in the same way. Thank you.
A point to conclude. Ajit.
Yeah, as a closing remark, I would like to say that I think presentation Darshana has given planning and execution things which covered with a lot of his personal experiences, and I feel that organization culture, which having any of our organization which having a conducive culture, which have a trustworthy management, trustworthy leadership, that is the focal things which to have a good execution. Otherwise, we can plan a lot of things, we can call external consultants and ask them to do good strategic plan, good planning and their international experience to share with us. But finally, when you go to execution, that trustworthy culture, that is the responsibility of senior managers and people who are leading the organization. If we can inculcate that trustworthy culture, then we can plan anything, same time we can execute very successfully. That is my final remarks. Thank you, sir.
I've done the presentation, but still would like to listen to your final.
Yeah, as the final remarks, I thought I would summarize some of the questions which came up. I think most of the questions came up. Do we need to bring other people into the planning process? How we need to bring? How to select them? Would they have diverse ideas? How do you manage these diverse ideas? I think that was coming out of most of the questions. So, number one, yes, you need to bring in the people, the executors for the planning. And who will be brought will be very carefully selected in terms of the functions, are they related, or in those functions whom to bring, and I think that should be a wise decision, number one. Number two, all the planning processes are going to be full of ideas, lot of diverse views. And that's where you need a bulldozer in your planning process as well. You need someone to say, okay, that's enough, we will not be able to do that. You need a bulldozer in your planning team. That could be or somebody responsible who's leading that planning session, who says, look here, we are not going to do this, we are going to do this, we are going to do this. People are not going to get angry with that. The reason is, people don't get angry because the ideas that they told don't get done. They get angry if they are not heard. But if they are told very clearly, we can't do X, Y, and Z because of this reason, they perfectly understand. So I think the challenge is that you bring in the right people into the planning, ensure that there are execution people there, and ensure that there are people who can take decision and are in the decision making level, control the ideas that come in, and having a filtering process and arriving at what you really want to do, and finally integrating your plan and execution so that you have a plan that is implementable. Thank you.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to an end of this moderating part. If I summarize from a conceptual viewpoint, the whole session from a strategic or marketing perspective, which I say this intent of what we are going to do, and then the content of what is in it, and of course the process and is the delivery. So in this process, Darshan has nicely put into a perspective, and he has summarized. Particularly, I am allowing with this last three terms, if I say the acronym, the FCP, that is your focus, keep your focus simple and so on, and get the competence right, and look at the capabilities in terms of the final P, that is passion, so that the intense desire to get success to be established. And the panelists also added some viewpoints, particularly Ajit highlighted about this trustworthiness in your what you promise and what you deliver. And Primrose talking about particularly this participative approach of executing, and in terms of the ASME talking about this plan, the execution also very well. That is in addition to his triangle which he added to Darshana's presentation, also noteworthy. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the moderation session. Over to you, MC.
Thank you to our panelists for that insightful session. I kindly request you to take your seats in the audience now. This invite goes out to our president, Professor Lakshman Vatavalla, to give away the tokens of appreciation. Starting off with the token for Mr. Azmi Sali. Mrs. Primrose Mascarenhas. Mr. Ajit De Costa. Our moderator today, Mr. Samantha Ratnayak. And our key presenter, Mr. Darshana Amarasinghe. Thank you, Professor Vatavalla. A big thank you to all our panelists, our speakers, our sponsors, and all our guests, and especially to all of you. I'm sure you've learned a lot of new things today. So until we meet again, take care.